This is the Ring of Honor, a.k.a. Shane T, boy, the baddest champion you ever seen, boy.
This is Mr. Anderson.
This is good old JR Jim Ross, and you are listening.
You're listening to Knockouts and 3 Counts.
Cover! We got a new world champion!
That might be one of the craziest knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Knockouts and 3 Counts is the podcast, baby! It's the real deal, baby!
Knockouts and 3 Counts starts now.
Ooh, what up, though? It is another Thursday. Come one, come all. This is Knockouts and 3 Counts. We got a lot to talk about today, taking it back a little on the old school and just talking about some of the things going on in the world of pro wrestling and combat sports. And if you guys were watching us on Tuesday, you know it's almost Turtle time. Aaron, the Turtle Man Ward, goes to war this Friday at the Motor City Casino for Clip MMA. I saw that he made weight. He said he hopes that his opponent keeps that same energy tomorrow. So I feel like it's going to be on and popping down in the Motor City on a Friday. We'll talk about that a little bit. Corey, J-Bone, how the fuck you doing on a Tuesday? If you guys are watching this, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Wait a minute, it's Thursday, pal.
Fuck you. I'm skipping
it's
my days.
Thursday. Don't put me back.
My bad. I was still tied up. I was all tied up with watching this Clarissa Shields.
No, that's crazy. I mean, I was like, dang, it's only Tuesday, and I'm like, dang, man. Well, what's been good, boys?
Nothing much on my end. Added a new one to the collection. You know, YouTube doesn't love it, so I'll just point the thing that sits behind my head in the middle.
Yeah.
Added a new one of those to the collection. Went to the range to test it. Had a little fun with that today. Other than that, that was about it, man. Getting ready for Christmas around here. That's what this house is about right now.
Christmas is coming. I forgot.
I can't forget about that one.
How could I forget? It's just everywhere.
Yeah.
Pockets are empty. You know how
the pockets are, yeah.
Ain't got no money, man. Christmas bills.
Hey, man. And we got a show coming back to the Motor City. Anybody who's in here watching going to be at the yearly holiday show for WWE. That's coming up here soon here in Detroit. I will be there. I'm sure J-Bone will be there. I'm sure many other people of the Knockouts and 3 Counts family, which we appreciate y'all that showed up at the pay-per-view party with our guys from Potters of Destiny. Stay tuned for that. There's more to come on that one.
That place is awesome. That was the first time I've been to that place. Dope. Didn't care for the pizza, but
yeah, the food was
cool, man. It's just such a cool setup with the big screens right there. That was perfect, man. Shout out to POD for bringing us on for that. That was really dope.
Yeah, if we host more events there, definitely grab a bite to eat before you come, so you're not forced to.
The other food wasn't so bad. I had
now we're talking about the. I just didn't like the pizza. That's all. Everything else was fine.
Everything else was.
We had pretzels over there. Just the pizza. I don't know. No, I'm a sauce guy, and it wasn't right. That's all.
It was a good time nonetheless. Don't let the food be the judge. It was still a good time nonetheless. Beers were cheap, and they hosted us pretty well at the whole happy hour thing. That was pretty cool. Loved the many screens, many options to watch things. Didn't love the fact that they didn't have the Pistons game on in Detroit. That one was killing me a little bit.
Was that missing out of like 32 screens? They didn't have that.
Yeah, they didn't have a single Pistons game up until like the fourth quarter when we were already losing by like 15 points at that point. So it was like, all right, cool. But besides the fact, it sounds like I'm complaining a lot, but I'm not, because it was actually a really good time.
Quit your bitching, Corey.
I know. If we have another one, you should definitely join us so you can hear this, complaints in person. But honestly, it was a good time hanging out with the boys. Got to meet a couple of the viewers and stuff. Hang out with some of the other podcasts of the area and stuff. Good time.
Good times. And Survivor Series was dope.
Well, talking about the return of our pay-per-view parties, that's as good a place to start as any. As this Saturday, we've got the return of Saturday night's main event. J-Bone, what are your thoughts on the return of Saturday night's main event, their return to NBC? it's gonna be gnarly. I feel
Nostalgia,
like. And
dude.
from
I
what
love
we've
it.
seen with this video, bro, it looks like we might be getting the debut, or not the debut, or the return of the Winged Eagle belt, like the one we gave away at the last party. So lots to talk about on this one. How
Night
are you
only,
feeling?
right? That's what I was seeing. One night, Triple H tweeted out one night only. But he's just giving us a little tease. We've been wanting that for a while. Everybody's been asking for that belt for a long time, and I'd love to have it back full time. That's the best championship belt of all time. I know that could be an argument, but out of all the belts ever made,
Cool. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was partial to the one that came after that because, again, I grew up an Attitude Era kid, so I really
was that the Circle Eagle,
Yeah.
Winged Eagle type? Okay, yeah, the Stone Cold.
blue strap after the
Yeah.
one Stone Cold got, the one that he tried to give him when they tried to make him the corporate champion.
Yeah,
Austin stripped down to his underwear in the middle of the ring and told him fuck off, and threw his suit all out in the crowd. Yeah, that's what happened.
As far as Saturday night, though, dude, I just hope they go back. Cause I mean, like I told you, I'm an old school fool. I just hope they really go back and like touch those same vignettes that they used to do, the intros. I hope the entrance is literally just the WWE side, like the old school type entrance. No Titantron, no big gimmicks, no big video boards. Just it's like a little.
Well,
hallway.
dude, they're already taking it back to a degree. What do you think about Jesse the Body being on commentary, dude?
I like that. I also seen that Coco Beware will be there. Tito Santana, the $1 Million Man, Greg Valentine, Jimmy Hart. That's a classic. All those guys give me so nostalgia at its finest, man. So if you're an old school WWE guy, WWF guy, you're gonna enjoy Saturday night. I promise you that.
They got to have the old school red, white, and blue ropes. Yeah. Like, it's got to be the old school red, white, and blue ropes. It's got like. Even if it's like an updated version of it, I need the older set. Like the older set needs to be a thing. Like I don't want it to look like Raw and SmackDown. I want it to be
right.
I want it to be some
just the symbol, just the logo, and they can just come through the little hallway. I'm cool with that. I even want them to do the old school steel guardrails. Like let's.
Hell yeah, I'm down with that too.
Stuff. Let's get the old stuff in. Let's just go all the way, man. It's one night only.
Hell yeah, I'm down with that. And on top of that, dude, you gotta think. So they're in like one of the original buildings for that too. That's gonna be dope. That they're gonna be in the Nassau Coliseum. That's sweet. So I love the little elements that we're seeing off the rip. I definitely like what we're seeing with that. I like we said, we seen the little tease at the fact that they're gonna bring back the Winged Eagle for one night. I think that's pretty badass. But let's talk about some of these matches, because the interesting thing with this, dude, is like it could definitely.
What up, Asa?
What up, though, Asa? Speak
Asa was
his
looking
name.
for me last time, man. My computer was all messed up last time. Here I is.
J-Bone didn't love us last time, Asa. That's what really happened.
It was getting no love on a Tuesday.
That's what really happened. But let's look at what we've got in on this. So this is probably from main event to the beginning, but you got Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the title. You got Liv Morgan versus Io Sky for the women's championship. You've got Gunther versus Finn Balor for the world heavyweight championship. That's what they've got on there as of now, and this is just on NBC. But just that alone. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that you're getting this high caliber of matches, right? But you're doing it on NBC. So think about all the new eyes, or maybe not necessarily new eyes, but eyes that don't watch, as fervently as they did before. You're going to be on national TV like that. And this is the type of card you're putting out. I've heard many people say that they feel like this one's going to be like a pay-per-view card, but I think this is very smart by WWE. Like, if you're going to go back on national TV like that, you're trying to hype this back up as like Saturday night's main event. Oh yeah, this is going to be a big deal, all this, whatever. You got to come swinging out of the gate so that they want to keep these around. I mean, at least you would think that that's what the WWE, mindset for this is going to be. I mean, at least that's what I would say.
But they're doing multiple ones, right?
Exactly. Right. So you want to come out of the gate hot. Like, you got to do something to make people want to be watching this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so where do you want to start? You want to start from the bottom to the top, or do you want to start
title matches, dude? That's insane. That's awesome.
The craziest thing is, out of all of them, I think there's the biggest chance that we could see a title change in the Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens match. If I'm honest,
Really?
out of
That's
all
what
the, I really, if I had to choose out of the three of them, which one I think there's most chance somebody's going to lose their belt, I don't know why, but
he's got a hunch.
bro, I mean, I've heard a lot of people and a lot of people online talking about they feel like Cody's run wasn't necessarily what people would like it to be, but I disagree. Like, I mean, if we're talking about money and things like that, I mean, dude, the guy's been as hot as they can be, and that's something we'll have to talk about in the coming weeks. Stay tuned because we're going to be doing the knockouts. You know what time it is. We're going to see who wins in what categories and all that stuff, dude. But like, I don't know, man. I think I'm not saying I think Cody Rhodes is going to lose, but what I'm saying is if you ask me which match out of the title matches has the biggest chance that we're going to see a title change, I think it's that one.
I don't know, man. I feel like if we're getting the Winged Eagle belt, it ain't going to change hands. I feel like only Cody's going to be the guy to hold that. You know what I mean? So while I would love to see Kevin Owens carry the strap because I feel like he far more than deserves it for years now, I just can't see it happening on that kind of stage. I mean, we're not even paying for this, right? This is free. So this isn't a prescription. WWE is a prescription to me, but it's not a subscription. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not a pay-per-view or PLE. And so if I'm picking one though, I really could see Gunther losing his belt to Finn Balor. If I'm choosing one. And I only say that because
you think Finn Balor's the one to do it though.
I think it's going to lead to something different.
I mean, don't get me
wrong. Gunther's such a
great
great champion, dude, but I just don't feel like right now. I just don't think Gunther needs the title to be Gunther. You know what I mean? See,
but my only problem is this though. Like, I agree with that. I think Gunther's a great champion. You've heard me sing the praises of Gunther. You know, for those that have been following us, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You would know that I've talked to Gunther in the WWE press conferences and all that stuff too. I've been following Gunther since he was over here doing Progress and all that stuff. But I'm just saying though, like, Finn Balor is a guy who I've been a big fan of his for years. I was a big fan when he won the Universal Championship originally. But here's the thing, though. Is Finn Balor the guy to take that belt off of Gunther after the way we've seen Gunther build himself up? What I'm saying is, based on the way that Finn Balor's been booked for the last however long, not that the Judgment Day hasn't been one of the hotter stories that you have in WWE, I'm saying that I think that I don't know that he's heated up enough to be the one to take that belt off of Gunther, unless it's some fuckery. Plus, I think Damian Priest will be involved somehow.
I was about to say, wait, didn't that just happen on Monday that they announced that Priest is going to be in that match now? It's a triple threat match now.
Okay, so there you go. I guess
like I said,
I'm just reading off the card that they got that. So I don't think Finn's
I think that would be
winning
even better. I mean, if we can get it off Gunther without Gunther losing, that ultimately makes the chase back for Gunther, which he would. Like we always say, the chase is more interesting than the actual defense, right? The same thing with Cody. Everybody was interested in Cody finishing the story and getting the title, and now that he's got it, it's like, whatever. So, hey, that could happen though, but it may not. Like I said, this could be nothing. I like, again, we talk about stories in pro wrestling, and we'll get to that in a little bit. As far as the what we think could maybe help AEW with some of the things that's going on there. But I think the beef between Cody and Kevin Owens is what makes that the more high profile, more that's the match I want to see. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Like,
I think we're going to get a long, drawn-out thing going into that also. So, I mean, there's only 3 matches, so 2-hour show, 3 matches. We're going to get a lot of video stuff, a lot of reminders on what happened up to that point, I feel like, which makes it all better, all the more
Plus,
better.
I mean, you had Kevin Owens jumping Cody in the parking lot and the interview that he just did with Michael Cole. I feel like that match is going to be badass, dude. Like,
What
I
about all
don't
the stuff that Kevin Owens says, Kyle? To me, he's not wrong.
Well, you know what
not
they say
telling
about
lies,
a good heel, bro. Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what they say about a good heel, a good bad guy, but there's a shred of truth to what he says. And he believes he's right. And if you really think about it, though, Kevin Owens has got a bitch. These guys have been fighting with the bloodline for the better part of the last 3 years now, beating the shit out of him. How many times? And then Cody Rhodes is going to team with Roman Reigns of all people after Roman Reigns beat the shit out of him for 2 years.
Do you think at any point in this match, do you think we could get the Stone Cold treatment where people start to cheer for KO and turn on Cody in that match?
Oh, I think KO's always got that availability. I think KO is good, whether he's a good guy, whether he's a bad guy. Like, and then that's another thing, like we're headed into WrestleMania. There's been a lot of talk about what if Austin was somehow involved, being that he lives in Vegas. I mean, I don't really think it fits in this general situation, but we don't know.
Looks like he's working out for something.
Dude, that guy always looks jacked. If I could look like him at his age, dude, I'd be fucking great. If I could look like him at my age now, I'd be great. But like I'm just saying,
I drink a lot more beer, man. That's all.
Yeah.
What do you think? That shit. That's not shit. With that being said, what are your thoughts on speaking of the bodies? What about Jesse the Body returning to commentary for this? I love that shit, dude. That's really awesome.
Cool. I'm sure he's gonna be in his usual Jesse the Body get up.
He's gotta be, dude. What do you mean?
I hope they. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't been on TV in years, but I'm sure he's gonna do well, and I hope they bring him back every time. There's moments on Saturday night's main event that I remember. One was him and McMahon doing commentary. The other would be like the Honky Tonk Man. Like, I hope people like that show up. You know what I mean? And you remember the promos at the beginning of those shows? Like, it would open the show and it'd be Hulk Hogan just going crazy. I think Sika was biting the head off a chicken at one point. Like, they open the show with the promos. I really hope they do that again. Like, just take it all the way back. Take the exact blueprint from.
Well, I mean, at least from the promo so far, that looks like the route they're going. But the last thing I mean, and not to glaze over Liv Morgan versus Io Sky, I don't think that Io Sky is going to end up winning that match. But again, Liv Morgan, another person that we're going to talk about when we get to the knockouts this year, because I mean, when you talk about female wrestler of the year, Liv Morgan in the year that she's had in 2024 has to be somewhere in that conversation. But the last thing I wanted to talk about Saturday night's main event before we get a little bit into AEW real quick before we hop over to the combat sports side of things. Does Kevin Owens need to win this? Like, do you think if Kevin Owens doesn't win this, that it's going to like mess up his credibility in terms of like, if he doesn't win, is he going to be able to be seen as like a viable challenger for the world title? I mean, it's been so long since he's been champion. Now, me being an old school Kevin Owens fan or Kevin Steen fan, I know that he can flip the switch like that. And we've already seen that in WWE. So I think that he can always stay around the thing. But do you think with the way that this is being built up and everything, do you think it's like a must win, like Kevin Owens has to win, or it's going to do like some major damage?
I wouldn't say he has to win because I really don't believe he's going to. But I feel like we're going to get the most out of KO. Like, this could be the ultimate KO. Like, he's so bad. Like, you remember how he did Sami Zayn on NXT in the debut? We're going to get like outraged, crazy Kevin Owens after he loses, and he's going to destroy some.
Well, I mean, we already did with that pile driver and shit. Right. Plus, you got to remember, Randy Orton hasn't been back yet either.
Yeah, so we're going to see some devastating stuff when he loses, if he loses. But I just think it's the next level of heel. He's going to get bigger, and they're going to push him as a bigger heel. And let's face it, he's one of the best in the business at being a heel. So we need more of them.
Bro, that power bomb that he landed on Sami Zayn to the apron was nasty. Yeah, dude, that power bomb he landed in NXT when he got Sami Zayn like that.
See him do that to Cody. How do you get the heat? Do that.
That's fucked up. You're hoping he tries to kill Cody. He said, I hope he fucking kills him. Fuck a pile driver.
Hey, whatever gets the heat on him, man. Let's do it.
He said,
know what I
whatever
mean?
gets the heat on him. Shout out to everybody checking in. I see there's about 120 people in here right now. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, like button. Make sure you check it out. All right. AEW Winter is Coming was last night. We seen a little bit more of the advancement for them in AEW. J-Bone, what were your thoughts on what we saw last night from AEW Winter is Coming?
I know we talk about this all the time, man. The wrestling's always good. The wrestling's always really good. It's just the way we get through the stories. I'm not really following with it all. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to connect, I guess, with the stories. But wrestling, it's always, A+. Usually never really bad matches, but I do like the timeless Tony Storm thing.
That was one of the things I was going to ask about.
The comeback,
what are your thoughts?
I thought that was great. I don't know why. I just didn't. That wasn't even crossing my mind, and then it happened. But I mean, I felt like the timeless Tony thing was really good. But now I feel like we could kind of do two characters with her. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of have her flip the switch at any point in time and be this Tony Storm and then this Tony Storm. You know what I mean? So there's not a lot of people that can really do that, and if they can manage to do that with her in AEW. Plus is all around for her, man.
Dude, if Timeless Tony Storm didn't kind of get derailed, I mean, I feel like Timeless Tony Storm was really kind of up there for like Superstar of the Year. I mean, that character was so badass. And then for her to come back,
for some reason, I'm drawn. What happened with her? She
was the champion up until All In, and that's when Mariah May beat her.
Yeah, okay, and that was the last time we saw her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe it was just a time off. Then was she hurt?
I don't know if she was hurt, but I mean, I think it might have just been time if that's where they were going, and she was gonna, it was gonna go back to like the original Tony Storm kind of thing,
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about an injury, but I mean, it's not to say that she couldn't have been, but I don't think it. Yeah. I'm not thinking it was injury. I think she just needed a little time away. So that's the Tony Storm thing. I think that's going to be cool. Obviously, her and Mariah May have unfinished business in this one. Mina Shirakawa, she says that she's not done with her either. You've got John Moxley and Pac defeated Orange Cassidy and Jay White by DQ because Hangman Adam Page came out. You had
crazy, dude.
All that kind of stuff go down. What are your thoughts on all the run-ins that we've seen in AEW lately?
It's been a lot, hasn't it? It's been a lot. I just the whole Death Riders thing. I feel like we're really leaning on that for AEW. That's got to hit, dude. And I don't know.
I just want to see how they're going to tie it up. Like I feel like there's a lot more to the story.
Right?
Yeah, like I feel like there's a lot more to the story that they still got to kind of reveal and like need to like tie up for it to make sense. Because here's the other thing. John Moxley's the AEW champion, but I feel like you don't really see the AEW championship even when he comes out.
That's what I was gonna say. We're not using him as the champion. We're using him as like this. I mean, the Death Riders, dude. He's a badass. He's nuts. His whole crew is. But like, we're not putting him up there as like the champ. You know what I mean? So that's interesting to see where that's gonna go. Like you said, it's got to tie in. All of it has to tie in sooner or later somewhere. I don't know when.
Yeah, man. I like the idea of where the thing with the Death Riders could go, but I like the idea of where it could go, but as of right now, I think they need to like pull more of that apart. We also had Ricochet versus Brody King, which to your point, was a hell of a match. I like Brody King, always been a big Brody King guy. I would not want to be on the receiving end of that flying crossbody that he does because that is a big son of a bitch. Yeah. But I feel like the AEW crowd really gets behind Brody King, though. Like, I feel like he's like an underrated star for them. Like, if you hear him, bro, you can just hear him. Like it kind of reminds me of like the old Rick Steiner with the dog thing when he's getting going, bro. House of Black is a dope act, and I'd love to see more from Brody King. I'm glad that Ricochet got him a win because I'm surprised he's already taken a few losses with him still being so new. In
That was
AEW,
the Continental Classic match, right?
correct? Yeah.
Okay.
But all in all, I thought that was a dope ass match, and it was a good win for Ricochet. But the match that you got to talk about, dude, is the Adam Cole baby versus Kyle O'Reilly to see who's going to face MJF. Now that was a banger of a match. I don't think anyone that knows either one of those two guys like really expected it not to be.
Right.
But I don't know, man. I just get this vibe, like even though like Kyle wants in it to like help out his friend and all that stuff, I feel like he could kind of be pissed off now because Cole's going to be the one that gets to fight MJF.
Yeah. I mean, it could be another one of those stories where it's got to tie in together. It's all going to be intertwined somewhere down the line, hopefully anyway. But that means we get to see another Adam Cole MJF match, which I ain't disappointed in that. I'm not upset that that's going to happen. But
not at all, dude. All right, dude. Before we get off of AEW and jump to the combat sports side of things, what for you are the things that you would like to see change in AEW that you think could help like bring the numbers up? We know how toxic wrestling fans are, and all they want to do is talk about numbers this and numbers that and all that stuff. Fuck the numbers. What things would you like to see change that you think could be like a major difference that could help bring more eyes for them?
Number one, take away Tony Khan's computer. You got to stop this man from tweeting announcements and everything, dude. I don't know. Like, it just, Kyle, you seen the statement he put out about Ray Phoenix, and just, there's stuff that needs to be said and there's stuff that does not need to be said. And that statement that he put out did nothing for them. It did nothing but set them backwards. Corey, to bring you up to speed, Ray Phoenix was kind of complaining about his situation in AEW. He claimed that he needed medical help, just all this stuff. And Tony Khan put out a statement that pretty much saying, hey, yeah, this happened. I'm sorry, but English was kind of broken, so it's hard for us to understand him. One time he said that he needed medical attention, or said he was injured, and I thought he was saying he was hungry, so I sent him for food. He put that in his statement.
Well, and let's not forget that the reason why Phoenix is still with the company, because if I'm not mistaken, Pentagon's contract is either running out or has ran out. And the reason why, right, and that's what I've heard. So I'm pretty sure he's done. And the reason why Phoenix, who's his brother and tag partner, is still there is because he got more time. I mean, in this part's standard in most wrestling contracts, but he got more time added to his deal because he was injured.
Yeah. So, but to put something like that in your statement, dude, did nothing.
That was pretty dumb, in my opinion. I can't argue
nothing but embarrass yourself. That is going to be used going forward as a like, bro. I've seen CM Punk memes underneath the tweet, right? And it's pretty much Punk going like, "Hello, like this is what I'm talking about."
I literally said that this was one of my issues, that they were trying to force me to work hurt, and now you got a guy who's saying that he was hurt, and you guys didn't get him help.
Now, I'm not saying take Tony Khan. I'm not saying blacklist him and then keep him away from the company.
No, dude.
But you got to keep him out of the public eye, dude, because he's doing nothing for you at this point. I know he's running the show, but he's not doing anything. He's not helping benefit this company whatsoever. So
I mean, not benefiting it whatsoever. I don't know about that, but as far as the Twitter stuff, there's definitely something to be said for that.
Or at least hire a PR guy. What, is there somebody with him? Like, I don't know, man.
From an outsider's perspective, man, I know for a fact nothing ever gets brought up good that he posts on Twitter or on his socials or anything like that. It's almost always, anytime something gets said or something like that on the show, at least brought, to my side of the table, it's always some big controversy, to your point, of something that he said that either puts his foot in his own mouth or points out his own hypocrisies that are going on that he's actively saying aren't or something. There's always something, like you say, I think he would be better off maybe only making like, hey, make sure you tune in this Saturday because we got X, Y, and Z going on. Other than that, just shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Somebody's got to take his keyboard away, dude. You ain't helping here.
It's kind of like the same thing. I mean, like I said, bro, you got to look at it in this sense. Like, you got to be careful with that stuff because you can't go back and forth with them online because at the end of the day, it's your company. So you need to be at the helm of it. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of AEW. I hope that they can do some things. For me, it's just like, while I understand, like, you want, like, their original goal was to try to be the alternative for WWE. Obviously, as most companies that come up in 2024, that's going to be the goal. I think that was something that helped them get over a lot in the beginning. And I think the wrestling matches have, like, become their calling card. But, like, as easy as this sounds, I feel like it's, like, one of their most complex issues in that just make things make sense. Like, if you're going through a story, bring that story to fruition. Because I feel like one of the biggest problems that AEW's had is they've had such a start and stop on so many people, like from Wardlow to like they had. I mean, granted, you can't change the fact that Adam Cole got hurt, but you had Adam Cole was the devil with the whole thing with MJF, and you had this big, long, drawn out thing to figure out who's the devil, and then we found out he was the devil, and then it was just like, boom, nothing. And then remember, he was all beefed out with Undisputed Kingdom, and then when he came back, he's all with Undisputed Kingdom. So, like, for me, that would be my biggest thing. Like, worry about, like, tying together the ends of why I want to see these guys wrestle. Because to your point, doesn't matter. I would go as far to say it doesn't matter what the AEW pay-per-view is at this point. You know you're going to get a good show for the pay-per-view. You know you're getting a good show for the pay-per-view. Match for match, their pay-per-views are badass. I don't really think there's been one that I can think of where anybody's been like, oh man, the matches on that AEW card fucking sucked. You know what I mean? Like, they always pull out bangers, even so much so that people a lot of times complain because they think that the shows are too long. So I think we already know you're going to get, like, bangers at the pay-per-views. I just would like to see them, like, do more of a better job of wanting to, like, tie up the loose ends on the way up there, or, giving more of a reason to want to see these guys fight other than, okay, I got Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and I know just because those two guys are in a match, it's going to be badass. Give me more substance to it, and not just like a week. Like, the one that jumps out to me is, again, with the buildup of Tony having Ring of Honor and having access to all that footage. I would have liked to seen more video packages more than just like the week before, but for the Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson match at Grand Slam, you know what I mean? You got all the footage for it. That's a great way to get people to know more about Ring of Honor and go deep dive down Honor Club. Oh, I don't know about Ring of Honor, because remember, a lot of the kids that are watching it now, and again, that's one thing we've learned from the rise of AEW is just still how segregated wrestling fans are and how tribal they are. So, I mean, a lot of WWE fans probably don't know as much about that rivalry, or maybe they're just watching it because they were fans of Daniel Bryan in WWE. You know what I mean? Like, that's arguably his greatest rivalry, and I just would have liked to seen a little bit more build up to things like that. And I think they have a good chance here with this Death Riders thing, where if they tie it up good with the way they did that with Mox and Bryan and all that stuff, and then tie in Wheeler Yuta, if you tie it up right, that could be pretty badass. So for me, that would be the biggest thing I think that they could change, that would do a lot to get more eyes on them. I feel like. on a week-to-week basis and help get people, more people to start coming out to the shows again. Like I said, I still love going. I still go pretty much most of the time when they're around. But for me, I think that's one of the biggest things that they could do that would change some of that. All right. Now, with all that said, those who were checking us out this Tuesday, shout out to everybody who was watching that episode with Aaron Ward. Talk to me about what were your guys' big takeaways from that show?
I mean, for me at least, really it was his career transition from being able to start his amateur career 0-2 to then make it to where he's at now, to where he's struggling to find matchups again because he's now somebody that people are fearing, essentially, even with such a low record at this point. Yeah,
I can get that, man. Like I said, it's it's a good story. I think he's got a tough fight tomorrow night at Motor City Casino.
Also, not to interrupt you, Kyle, but also love the fact that he's a self-proclaimed wrestler going in there to throw hands. That's his intentions. That's what he said. He made it very clear. He said, "I don't plan on taking this motherfucker down." So we'll see.
Hands, bro.
Yeah.
Trying to throw them
tomorrow
hands.
night, right?
Yes, sir. Friday night, Motor City Casino at the Soundboard.
That's right. It's Thursday, not Tuesday, Kyle.
You said it this time, not me. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Shout out to Aaron Ward. Good luck tomorrow night at Motor City. With that said, I feel like the biggest news of the MMA world right now is the emergence of this new fight league that's come out. That's got past guests of the show. Kevin Lee is part of it. I've got the list over here. We'll get to that here in a second, so I can pull it up on the screen.
If you want to pull it up, Kyle, I'll give my quick breakdown on it. I mean, for me at least, you love to see it. I mean, it's kind of like what I was saying with PFL, 4 or 5 years ago at this point. You love to see more competition. It seems like everybody who tries to be a decent number 2 always doesn't do a decent number 2's job. We were just talking about that with AEW. Hopefully, they can make the type of splash that.
But I mean, you're saying they're going to immediately go to number 2. You're telling me that you think that they're going to immediately jump over the PFL?
I think the PFL is struggling, man.
They are struggling, but I'm just saying, as far as an overall roster, I mean, with who they've got from Bellator and all that, they're going to have to go some to come to number 2. They haven't even had an event yet.
I absolutely agree with that, but I think that for your casual MMA fan, once we go through this list a little bit, there is a ton of names on here that are individual names that may be people's past favorite fighters or something like that, and that'll be enough of a reason for them to tune into a single event. And if you have 3 or 4 of those guys on one event, you're definitely going to want to tune in because you're going to want to see who Kevin Lee's fighting that night or who knocks out Hardy or whatever at heavyweight. You're gonna want to see these things.
I got hype earlier. Kyle said something about Vanderlei Silva, and I was like, the axe murderer, dude. Like, let's go, dude.
That's my issue. Is they're definitely reaching back in this yearbook that is MMA. They're pulling the Jake Paul of MMA leagues to begin with. But that being said, I think, unfortunately, that's what you have to do to garner viewership right now. Is you have to get guys that people care about. Like I was saying, literally on Tuesday with the PFL breakdown that we had, was the fact that they're just not doing a great job of bringing guys that people care about to the table. And I understand it's a tournament. I understand, with the way that GFL, correct?
Yeah.
With the way they have it laid out. It at least win, lose, or draw, no matter what happens with the guy that you care about, they still have a chance to continue to progress because it's a team format. So it's weird how it's laid out. I'm really curious to see how that initial run of it goes or whatever until we see the finale and the ultimate team or whatever they call them. But that being said, it's a fun gimmick. We'll see if it actually works out. You know, I seen that they were running. I don't think it was them in particular, but there was like Team Fight League or something last year that was running something similar where it was like a team based, but you fought individually, obviously, but then it was scored somehow. We'll see.
Break it down for me. So this is like what? So we're doing like
It's a season format and it's a team format. I like it. I like it in this. I was a fan of like the IFL back in the day, dude. That was cool, and I like the idea of the team thing because it's different. But there's a few things like name value will help, but at the same time, the thing that bothers me about some of the people that were like signed to it is like, okay, J-Bone, the big one that hops out to you is Wanderlei, but remember. Wanderlei was also one of the people that in that big UFC antitrust lawsuit, was asking for more money because of the permanent brain damage that he said he had from fighting and all those things. So if you're bringing one of those guys in, unless they're going to be one of the coaches, which in that case, I'm completely okay with it. I got no problem.
That'd be cool.
But like, if you're telling me like him and Frank Mir and fucking Arlovsky's at least fought in the UFC recently, so that one's not so bad. But like Frank Mir and Wanderlei and Verdum, who's another one who was in that antitrust lawsuit like that. Like
you can't go out there and just bang heads like that, dude, after something like that,
Yeah, man, and that's what I'm saying. Like to me that's
like I had pointed out, that's my biggest issue with the whole thing is the fact that they really dug deep into this book that is MMA, stars. And I understand what you have to do because ultimately you have to get guys that are either out of contract or retired to the point where the UFC says go ahead.
Well,
and that's not the case with a lot of these guys. Ultimately, I think this whole PFL Bellator shakeup of a bunch of their champs and stuff maybe wanting to make an exit, that might help them, honestly. But yet again, it really just boils down to how good is the product, how often are they able to put out the product so that people stay tuned in. It can't just be 3-4 times a year putting on an event and that's what we get. And I'm really curious to see so many things with it. How it actually performs on once it's laid out in front of us, and then what the schedule actually ends up being.
To play devil's advocate, though, again, shout out to our friends at MMA Today. I was listening to that, and Will Brooks was on there today, and he's another guy signed there. And he said that he said if they make the money that they've offered for these fights, he said he's going to make more money in these fights in 1 year than he's made in his entire MMA career, and that's a Bellator champion and a UFC guy. And the other thing that even though I just said that like the older fighters, fighting like that, could be dangerous at the same time, they're also saying 8% of everybody's purse gets put into a retirement fund for them, when they're done with them. So like you're putting money away for that too. And the health insurance and stuff that they're talking about getting for fighters so that you can use that for your family. So there's a lot of things that they're doing that we've heard that have been rumored before that if that's how they play out, it could be really dope too. But let's go through some of this list. So you got Andre Arlovsky, Renan Barão, let's see, Alan Belcher, Tanner Boser, Will Brooks, Pedro Carvalho, who used to be in Bellator, Rafael Carvalho. You've got, let's see, Junior Dos Santos. I'm just going through the list of names on here. Phil Hawes. You got Bubba Jenkins. That's one that I like. Latifi, Kevin Lee, John Makdessi, Frank Mir, Marlon Moraes, Achilles Mota, who was with Bellator, Gegard Mousasi, Sydney Outlaw, who fought Miles Jury, Ben Henderson, Anthony Pettis, Luke Rockhold, Charles Rosa, Thiago Santos, Wanderlei Silva, Andre Arlovsky, Jeremy Stevens, Francisco Trinaldo, Fabricio Werdum, and Tyron Woodley.
Yeah. And just through that list alone, like I say, there's plenty of guys that were your favorite fighter at one point if you cared about, if you really cared about fighting during that era. So that being said, I think they'll garner some eyes from that. I don't know. I mean, it really is so much up in the air with what the future. One thing I personally don't love that we've been seeing about it is immediately everybody shitting on the fact that it's going to just be this flop. It's why are they wasting their time? I've seen so much of that in the MMA media, and it's really disheartening.
Will Brooks literally said that in that interview today. He was like, dude, if everybody says they want change, well, when these new companies come in that are offering more money, if you just shit on it, then that's never going to happen.
I can understand being skeptical. I can understand, going into it with the grain of salt or whatever you want to call it, 1 foot in or whatever. But
it's the same thing like we say with AEW. There's all the tribalism shit. It's like, but for how many years did we say in wrestling, like, oh, WWE is getting stale, but that was because there was really no competition of any kind.
And we've seen the same type of thing. I'm sorry to interrupt, Kyle.
You're good.
But
You're good.
We've seen the same type of thing being brought up multiple times recently with the UFC. Honestly, the last couple of years, since they had the big COVID boom and everybody was all excited because it was the only sport in the game, and then now all of a sudden things kind of died out. Everybody's bitching about the fact that these main events and these cards aren't what they once were, and this past pay-per-view was pretty good, but it really wasn't. A lot of people are saying the same sentiment of what you were just saying, basically, Kyle, of the fact that the UFC isn't what it once was. It's not quite as entertaining. We've got, yada yada. Like I was saying, it just sucks, man. For all these MMA media and people that so-called are fans of the sport and give enough time to cover the sport on a regular basis to just immediately be saying this is why it'll fail, this is why it's not going to work out. At least give them a chance to try. Come on, that's what we want, right? We want other avenues.
Sometimes I think
fighters.
people just want to bitch, but
got the internet for that now,
Well, that's really, I think you're absolutely right, Kyle. I think that's really what it all boils down to is they want to cover the topic, but they've seen that the biggest and best way to get eyes on their coverage of the topic is to basically shit on it. And that's almost unanimous across the board with most things. You start, like, look at how big the MMA Guru channel is now, and his whole uprising to this point. His videos now are a little different. I still don't really tune in, but I see the clips and stuff on like Twitter and shit here and there. But his whole videos in the beginning were just shitting on the fact of what somebody's done or why they shouldn't be where they are, or look at how shit this guy is, and look that it's what really just that's what YouTube and social media just coverage is in general, man. And ultimately, it's just unfortunate. I hope the best for what we see from the organization going forward. It seems like they've at least accumulated a lot of people that on their roster that people care to see fight. So
how many shows you giving them before you think it's either going to hit or miss?
I think if they make it to 10 shows and they're still like getting actual talked about and people care and stuff like that, I think that's a really good sign. I think if they don't make it to 10 shows, we ultimately know that it wasn't, going to work out. But I think they wouldn't be this far into it, because I remember Ariel Helwani broke it down on his show, I think, pretty well. The fact that this guy came out, had the whole thing on his show, I think it was 23 or something like that, where he was breaking down how this was going to start and how they're really, working on it and accumulating a roster and stuff like that. They ended up with a big delay. Here we are now with the start of it. They've got the real roster. They've got a bunch of guys that are talking actively that they're committed to what this, organization stands for, or whatever, however you want to say it. So, yet again, I hope the best, and we'll see. That's really all I can say.
Not to mention they could bring in more names. You know what I mean? And who knows?
Oh, I'm sure they're going to, but I mean, hell, just with the names they brought in, dude. We still got a lot.
Man. I mean,
well, that's the thing. We still got to learn more about who's really behind it. But I mean, with the names that they brought in, man, they've got to have a huge.
I thought when you first sent it to me, I was like, is that a typo for like the trash pickup people? That's my trash pickup people. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh no, that's that thing.
Yeah, I mean, everybody goes with the 3-letter organization thing. I mean, it seems to be the thing that works out. NBA, NFL, it is what it is. I get it, but
it's the culture.
We could have had a better name than Bellator, but at least they tried to just do a name.
Yeah, it's true. Hey,
Hey, Bellator had a cooler logo and shit when they first came out too. So let's not throw. A
lot of good ones had the one. There was Bellator, that was Strikeforce, there was Pride. Yeah. Pride was dope.
One other thing, I didn't get to submit it in the notes, but one other thing I wanted to get your thoughts on, since we're kind of talking about organizations and futures and stuff like that. What's your guys' thoughts on the whole one kind of really losing a lot of their American roster, kind of just willingly letting these guys go?
Well, I mean, I think there's getting a lot of backlash because, I mean, I was literally just talking about this before the show with somebody. I mean, just when you look at it, I mean, it's really kind of the same problem you're seeing in the UFC when you think of the sense of like the amount of money that they claim that they're bringing in yearly versus like what these guys are getting paid out for these fights, man. I mean, ultimately, it's the same problem as the UFC, except the UFC has the advantage of, being the WWE of,
the premier organization.
Right. They're when people think of MMA, they're thinking of UFC. So ultimately, they've got that leg up. But I feel like, we've heard multiple of the champions that have left ONE FC basically say like, don't go over there or whatever, whatever the case. So I mean.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's the thing. And I mean, PFL's kind of experienced some in that now with Patricio Pitbull asking for his release, guys like Patchy Mix saying they need to fight. And I mean, I think the more fights that get, canceled, that's going to be a problem, as we go. But I mean, ultimately, there's still another option. I want to see them all do well, but I think that it's really kind of the same song and dance when you really think about it. But I don't know, man. Like I said, there's a lot to talk about. We've got a lot that we've got to go through. We've got the knockouts are coming through here in the next couple weeks. We're gonna hammer down some of the topics and maybe have some run-ins on the show for our yearly award show and all those things. If you guys have got any picks on different categories that we need to talk about or whatever it is, throw those in on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you follow us, all those kind of things. But I think we've covered most of the stuff for today's episode and all those things. It was good to get back on here and shoot the shit. I know there are other shows that are getting ready to kick off here on the Body Slam Network as well. So, J-Bone, Corey, you got any last words before I shut this thing off?
Nah, man, I'm just ready for Saturday night. Saturday night's main events, baby. Let's go. I got my Ultimate Warrior, old school Ultimate Warrior bandana ready to go. I'll be wearing this on my face. Oh, wait.
That looks like a Wu-Tang thing almost.
There we go. There we go. I'm not even a Warrior guy. I was a Macho. I got a Macho Man bandana around here somewhere. But I'm pulling out all the crop. I'm gonna pull out all the old school stuff for Saturday night. And dude, we're gonna get it old school.
I'm with it, dude. I need me a Bobby the Brain Heenan coat. I'm with it, dude.
That could be your next Halloween costume, actually. You be
I don't know.
Bobby.
You had a pretty.
Corey could be Andre.
We got to get Corey out of the house first.
Imagine Corey in the
But,
singlet. Get Corey in the one.
No, because Corey wouldn't come out of the house.
The
We got to
legless
get him out
singlet.
the house.
And then you know who I
I
could
leave
be.
the house every day, Kyle.
I could be.
I ain't no homebody.
I could be Slick, right? No.
With that being said, dude, I'll have to put some more thought into my next Halloween costume. Make sure you guys hit that button, hit that subscribe button, like button, share button, all the buttons. And good night, good fight, knockouts and 3 counts. Don't say good night. Until the next time in between time, hit that beat. Peace.